Hello folks, well today's vacuum cleaner is going to be a Hoover Aquajet multifunction machine, and this particular version I think dates from around 1994. From what I saw on the eBay listing, this is complete apart from the instruction book, and it seems to be in very good little used condition. But it's not been packed very well, quite a thin box, so I'm hoping nothing is broken. If anything's broken in here, it will be one of the wheels, but we can hope that everything is intact. Now there is a little bit, they have packed it with some extra packaging, so let's have a look at what we've got in the box. First out, we have the hose. And this type of cleaner, as with the later Aquamaster, this has the solution tube actually built inside the main suction hose, so there's no tedious clipping the solution hose to the outside of the hose and the wands. Although yes, we do have to clip to the wands, but not to the hose. So it's built in, and yes, that's in pretty good clean condition. We've got a suction relief valve there, and this, quite a bit different to the Aquamaster, we have got your trigger to release the solution, so you can have it locked like that, constantly on. That's the off position, or you can just use it like that, release the solution when you want. Basically this is very similar to Hoover Aquamaster, but this has a pump. Okay, so here are the two aluminium wands. Oh, dear me, a little bit of a dint in that, which is a shame. But apart from that, as you can see, not too bad condition wise. Alright, I'll just have to adjust that. They've done, yes, I've seen this happen before where, there you go, that's okay. The locking ring has been put in the wrong position. Right, that should be fine. No, it's not fine. Hang on, it's completely around the wrong way. Let me just turn it how it should be. Like that, that's it. I think. No, that isn't it. Right, that's it, yep. So they lock together. Quite a good system, and they're intact. Often they break at the end, but they're okay. So far so good. This is the main drag wand, carpet cleaning wand, and I did notice in the listing that the pip is on the side, and it shouldn't be. I'm assuming I should be able to move that round. I might try now. No, I can't do it, so that might require a bit of soak in hot water. That should definitely be at the front. If I try and twist that by putting one of the wands on, I'm going to break that pip off, and that particular part I think will be quite hard to get. So yes, everything is here so far. We've got the 3 clips to secure the solution hose to the wands. We've also got, and that's a shame, a little bit taken out the squeegee there. Let's take that off if I can. I think what's happened with this, I think they've just used it to shampoo carpets with the hard floor attachment on. That's what it looks like to me. I might have to, yeah, off camera I'll try and slide that off. So this is for cleaning hard floors. You've got squeegee at the front and you've got a brush at the back, but that shouldn't be on when using it for carpet cleaning. That should be removed. You can just see just about there, that's the jet, which is a bit skew-if, so it's not going to be spraying out. So I'm going to have to do a few adjustments to this machine. Okay, we can take the cleaner out. Check the box. Nothing more to see, but hopefully all the additional tools will be packed inside the machine. Well, yes, it looks pretty good so far. Right. We'll take off the shampoo tank. It's grubby, but that will clean up very well. Yeah, that looks fine. Let's see if we can just pull the cleaner out now. Come on. No. Nearly there. So far so good. It looks pretty mint. I mean, after it's had a bit of a clean, that's in very good condition. As I said, I think this dates from about 94. I certainly have a Hoover brochure from 1994 with this particular model in. It's not the last Aquajet, because I believe there was a model after this, the one that's in the sort of dark teal colour that has a slightly different carpet cleaning head. I've got one of those I unboxed on my channel a while ago, didn't demonstrate it. This came before, I'm pretty sure. I prefer this version somehow. It's quite smart in the sort of, it's not a brilliant white, it's an off-white, but it is the correct colour. It's not faded or anything, and I do like the purple accent colour on this Hoover Aquajet Electronic. And as you can see, we've got symbols here to denote it picks up dry, it picks up wet, and it also shampoos your carpets. Okay, let's check inside. I'm assuming all the bits are in here, but what is missing, but fortunately I have just bought one and I've got another one in stock as well, so it is missing the cloth filter that you'd need for dry use. I can't remember if that was illustrated. I assumed everything was there, but possibly it wasn't illustrated in the eBay listing, so I can't complain about that if it wasn't. But as fate would have it, just this week I bought a spare one for my Aquamaster, but I knew I had a spare one anyway, so I've got one to fit in here, so that's not a problem. And I'm sure I've got some bags that will fit this machine. Inside the machine, this always happens, doesn't it, in storage, the brushes of your nozzles get a bit bent out of shape. Bit of very hot water, not boiling, very hot. Soak that, and it normally, things like this normally retain, go back to the shape it should be. But that is unused for sure. That's your dusting brush. So that's for dry pickup. Here we have crevice tool, again that is unused. I'm hoping there's a small nozzle. Yes, there is. Should be the upholstery, or Hoover called it the all-purpose nozzle, which again I think that's just got some storage dust in it. I don't think that's ever been used, so possibly this cleaner was never used for dry pickup. Doesn't look like those tools have been used at all. Then we have the main carpet and floor nozzle, quite a nice Wesselwerk design I think this is, and that's lovely unused. So only wet use this machine's been used for, and probably not a lot of wet use. I wouldn't be surprised if it's only been used a few times and they thought it doesn't work very well on carpets because they've used it with the hard floor adapter. Didn't read the instruction book, did they? So yeah, as you can see, that is new and unused. Very decent nozzle that. Whoops. Yes, made in Germany it says on it. So that's good. And here is, again that looks unused, this is your upholstery nozzle, and this, you could also get this for the Aquamaster. It came as standard with the Aquamaster Electronic. So basically it's just a smaller version of the main nozzle that came with the Aquamaster, which is a bit of a similar nozzle to the Vax cleaner. So that's fine. So we are missing the dry filter. And one vital component without which you cannot use this machine for shampooing. This is a siphon tube, very hard to get hold of as a spare part now for this cleaner or for the non-pumped Aquamaster. It's a little bit mucky. Bit of hot soapy water will sort that problem out. Little bit of a different design to the Aquamaster one, because we've got this different connector that actually goes into the motor unit. So far so good. Pretty clean and tidy in there, and all the wheels are intact, and we have a date wheel on the underside of the machine which is pointing to 92 and May. So this particular part, the bucket, was made in May 1992. And we've also got a little bit of a clip fitting. I think I'm not sure if the later models were just a push fit, but this does actually hold the bag collar when you're using it with bags. So for dry use, you are supposed to put a bag in this, and you are supposed to put a filter. In fact, I'll get the spare filter I bought. It's not genuine, but it will fit this machine. Okay, so it's a compatible Hoover filter, this, from Qualtex. So we'd prefer to have an original one, but you know, for the amount of times this cleaner is going to get used, it seems pretty good quality though. Pretty thick filter material. So once there is a bag in position, we also put the dry filter in place. Now the Aquamasters, as far as I remember, the Aquamaster and the Aquajet never had a filter here at the motor inlet, not like the Vax cleaners that had that blue filter. So the Aquamaster and Aquajet were Hoover's answer to Vax's very popular 3-in-1 machine. Of course, Hoover dipped their toes into the 3-in-1 market initially with the Aquatronic, which wasn't actually made by Hoover. They outsourced that, and then soon after the Aquatronic was launched, they came up with the first generation Aquamaster to directly compete with Vax. And then the Aquamaster had various incarnations, was updated slightly, and then along came the Aquajet, which was very similar to the Aquamaster but added the separate pump, which made it far better at cleaning above the floor for you doing your stairs, upholstery, and your car interior, because it has a pump inside that pumps the solution through. So we'll have a look at the motor unit. So here's the bottom of it. The float valve that obviously raises up when you're using it for wet use, raises up so it cuts the suction off when the tank is full. We've got a good suction seal all around, but look at the condition of it. It's very, very good, very clean. The motor, let's just have a look, won't be able to show you. Yeah, could do with a little bit of a clean. Very slight rust on that. Most wet and dry or 3-in-1 type cleaners would have a bit of rust, especially if they were put away a bit wet. Secure the nice lilac colour handles at the side, or bin release doubles. And we've got a nice, Hoover didn't often do this, but we've got a nice clip to secure the cord. We've got the original label on here to tell you how to wire a plug. It does come with a plug, and it would have come with a fitted plug, but you can see it's made a bit of a mess of the cable with the glue, so I'll get my sticky stuff remover to get rid of that. Nice quality. This machine would have been made in Cambuslang, Scotland, made in the UK. Very good machine. I do like them. Very pleased so far with this cleaner. I've no reason to think that it's not going to work when I switch it on. At the top of the cleaner here, we've got the on-off switch, protected by this splash-proof cover. And on this machine, we have electronic control from maximum. And I think that's the eco. Now there's something wrong with this, because that isn't turning. It's only going from max to that eco setting. Now that should move more than that. So let me just pull this off. and see what's gone wrong with this. See if I can move it. Right, yeah, so this, although it looked good to start with, isn't there's something wrong with that, because that should definitely move. It shouldn't just move from max to the eco setting, or that's whatever that setting is. I don't know if that is the eco setting there, so it's not moving correctly. So it's going to have to be opened up, which is easy to do on these. It might require a little bit of a contact cleaner spray, but yeah, that's not right. On the other side, we have another button for the pump, which, yeah, that seems okay. That should illuminate. Right then, it's time to switch this cleaner on. I'm not so confident now as I was earlier, because there is something definitely wrong with this electronic control. So I assume it'll come on maximum if that's in the correct position. I'll switch it on here. I won't have the pump on at the moment. We don't want the pump running dry, because that's the ideal way of damaging your pump. You should always have water flowing through the pump. So let's just find out anyway if the motor sounds sweet. There's something dodgy with that dial, but I don't think it's major. It did seem to go round all the way to the minimum position, so it's just maybe just clogged up with something. It will need, I'm going to take the motor out and just give it a bit of a clean. There's nothing I need to do with the motor. The motor sounds exactly how it should. Let's just quickly turn the pump on. I think this light, this switch actually should illuminate here when I turn it on. Yes, so that sounds fine. It all sounds fine. I'm going to just give it a quick wet test anyway. Well, I certainly can test it with the upholstery nozzle. So in order to set this machine up, well, first of all, of course, before I use it for wet pickup or for shampooing, you need to ensure that you take the filter out. And of course, if there's a bag inside, you need to remove the bag. So that's how it should be, all nice and clean for wet use. Pop the motor unit back on. Make sure it lines up with the bin clip side to side. And you can see at the front here, this is where we connect the siphon so it can pump the solution through to the nozzle. I've partly filled the solution tank with a bit of warm water and solution. I've got some Bissell solution in here. Hoover did produce their own solution in sachets, a pack of 3 sachets, quite an expensive way of buying solution, but you didn't have to measure it out. You cut the sachet open, filled the tank with the water and then put the sachet in. Hoover also did it in a bottle. I think it was made for Hoover by another manufacturer. But to be honest, when I was using my Aquamaster on a regular basis, I used different solution in it. I think Vanish made one that was suitable. Also, the company 1001 made a solution suitable. It even had the Hoover logo on it and said it was suitable for Hoover machines. So that's what I tended to use. Okay, so a bit of solution in here, a bit of hot water, which I've just spilt. That sits on there. And then we need to connect the hose, making sure that the solution tube is fed through the hose inlet. Don't trap it, and you just turn it until it's fully screwed into position, like that. Let's move that hose out of the way, and then we can take the siphon and this part. Now that is, it acts as a weight to keep the siphon tube towards the bottom of the tank, but it's also porous, so it acts as a little filter. So if anything got in the tank, that could damage the pump, it wouldn't get past the very fine filter on the end here. So that would go into the top, and it's got a seal on it as well here, so it keeps it airtight. Fits onto the front of the tank like so, very secure, tight fitting. Then we're left with this tube here that fits onto the hose, and of course this part here that we put through into the machine. Let's just make sure, yes, it only goes one way. There is a little arrow, not sure if you can see it, there's an arrow on the top, so that needs to be uppermost, and you push it in until it clicks. There we go, that's it. Lower the tank again, and then we connect the tube up here, and it should just twist in position, just a screw thread there. So that's connected up at the machine end. And now I'm going to connect the upholstery washing tool directly onto the end of the handle, like so. Lock it in place with the locking ring, and then this part of the solution tube screws in to the short piece of hose, and you can see the difference, how this unused part's very clear and see-through, and the used one's gone a bit manky there. But that should just screw together like so. So you've got a little bit of slack there. So basically now when I switch on the pump, nothing will happen. There won't be any solution flowing until I press down on the solution release lever. So let's try that now. Make sure that the pump is pumping the solution all the way through. Because this machine hasn't been used for quite some time, I expect there'll be no solution inside the tube in the hose, so it'll take a moment for the solution to flow through until we start seeing it coming out the nozzle. Okie dokie, well, it was all going so very well. We've got a problem. Now the problem isn't with the pump. The problem is, I think there must be a blockage in the solution tube. It's either blocked or there's a hole in it somewhere that I can't see, and the solution is just leaking into the hose and being sucked up and going inside the machine rather than coming to the nozzle. So it might be a case of soaking this hose in the bath in some biological washing powder, give it a good soak, and rinse it through. I know it's not the pump, because if I was to take this off, it might spurt out a bit of liquid. Yeah, there's pressure built up, and if I turn the pump on now, you'll see that the liquid is flowing into the hose. So that's good in a way, because we know the problem isn't with the pump. Right, I'm just going to have to suck up the mess I've made on the carpet. So there's nothing wrong with the suction, it is picking up. The problem lies within the hose. Now you can buy, I have found a website that has, now that might be the problem. It might have just been twisted perhaps. It seemed a bit twisted when I removed it. So what might have happened when I actually attached it to the machine, something kinked, although it doesn't look very kinky there, does it, folks? It hasn't kinked at all. Something I was going to check first, if I remove the solution flow trigger. Problem could be in here, because it is very, very kinked. I mean, this cleaner's I don't think this has been in use for a long time, and so I think what's happened, yes, I think that could be the case. Let's just take that out. We're going to try and run the machine. Now I do have a spare solution tube. It's blue, but it is a genuine Hoover one if I need to. But I think what it could be, it's just because it's been in this position for a long time. It's been in the open position. I think it was in the open position when I got it out of the box. Pretty sure it was. So if it's been left in the open position in storage, it basically means that it's developed a kink here. So even when I close it for the solution to flow, it's not flowing. But if I was to remove the tube carefully, if I can pull it through a bit. Let's take it out of the trigger assembly, or partly. Don't know if it's going to come completely out without further disassembly. I think that could be the problem, folks. Could be just as simple as that. I mean, just soaking this in hot water might fix it. Yes. Right, if I press that down, I can move it past the kit. It's very, very, very kinked. Can you just about see? No wonder it's not letting the solution flow. So if I'll pull it through a bit more, I think that could be the problem there, look. So I might just be able to, for the time being, try and open that up with my fingers. I'm going to try it again now. I think it might, fingers crossed, work. So I'll pop the hose back in. Twist it round, connect up the tube from the pump, or from the solution tank. Let's just untangle the hose if I can. Come on, there we are. Okay, let's switch on again and hopefully we'll start to see the solution coming through. I thought we'd had a bit of progress then. You can barely hear the pump now because there is solution running through it. Well, it's not running dry anyway. That is odd. Is it going to spurt out when I take it off? Right, there we go. Well, sort of. That should be coming out much more than that. But I think, oops, don't want to overwet the carpet. There we go. There we go, folks. That's a bit better. Let's quickly switch that off before I flood the place. Just have to quickly clean this mess up. Okie dokie. Well, perhaps it's this that's blocked, I wonder. With the warm water running through the tube, it will help. But I think a soak in very hot water will just bring that back, and then I'll just put it back on the machine. It might take a while for that kink to sort of go back to how it should be, and this may be not as flexible as it would have been when it was new. It's gone a little bit stiff, I think, so that won't help it at all. Be interesting to see actually, where is the main nozzle here? Now, obviously I need to do something with this. Well, first of all, I'm just going to unscrew this nut here, because I did notice that the solution jet wasn't straight. It was at a silly angle. In fact, I'm just going to run it without the jet in place, so it should pour water through the hole here. If it's working as it should, we can just connect up the tubes like that. Okay, let's just check that water runs through here when I turn the pump on. Yeah, that's correct. That's how it should be. But obviously that's not going to clean our carpets because it needs the jet in order to concentrate the spray into a sort of V-shaped, inverted V-shaped pattern. But these do come off easily because this could get blocked up. So it's designed to be removed. But it looks fine. It's a very, very thin little opening. But once this is attached to the end and it's in the correct position, which is as it is now, make sure I don't move that jet when I screw up the nut again. So yes, this has got a few little minor issues, but that's fixed. Now that jet, when I turn it on now, it should spray out in a fan pattern. Yes, that's fine. That's how it should be. So this nozzle's okay, apart from obviously what I might do with this one. Yes, I think it's going to be safest. I was going to say I was going to undo these screws here to release the front part of this nozzle, but that's not going to help with the problem I've got at this end because this part isn't in two pieces. It looks like it is, but it isn't. There is a line, but it's not going to open up fully for me to release this clear part. So the later Aquajets, the nozzle was slightly different and it was completely clear, so you could see the solution going up. But with this earlier Aquajet, we've just got this clear part here, so we can still see the solution. But I don't want to break this. And I think that's why the locking rings are in a funny position, because it has been used in this position and it shouldn't be. So folks, this is going to have a soak in the bath as well, and I think just soaking it in hot soapy water might be enough, just so it releases this part. I don't think it's glued in, hopefully not, but you can see it is in the wrong position. See the position of the handle? The handle obviously should be holding the handle like that, but if I hold the handle as it should be held, you can see that the nozzle, well, that's not going to do anything. The nozzle needs to be obviously in that position, which means the handle. So I'm not sure how they use this. I mean, I can use it like this, could use it like that, but that's not ideal. And I'm just a bit concerned that the squeegee, I can't think which way it comes off. Now there is an arrow pointing that away, but is that the way to slide it on? So does it slide off? It's very hard to see. I don't know if it matters. I don't want to break it, because I doubt I'll be able to get another one of these either. There we go. It's very stiff. I think that's what's happened, folks. I think they've tried to shampoo carpets with this, because I don't think they'll have just bought it to clean hard floors. And I bet they thought, ooh, it's doing a terrible, terrible job. It's leaving the carpet very wet, and it will do. So possibly this is why. There we go. Phew, that's good. So there's that attachment off. So I suppose I could have a quick go, as it is, on the bit of carpet I've messed up here. Well, there you go. In theory, and I suppose in practice, this Hoover Aquajet Electronic does work as it should. The pump is fine, the motor's fine, just needs a little bit of tweaking. Obviously I need to get this drag wand in the correct position in order for me to comfortably use it and sort out the kink in the solution hose. But apart from that, pretty happy with this machine. It's a decent cleaner, and I think it'll do a fairly good job. Not as good as a modern carpet washer with rotating brushes, but for the time, you know, from the sort of early to mid 90s when this machine was in the shops, I think it would have been a pretty good cleaner if you wanted a multi-purpose machine, an alternative to the Vax. But anyway, pretty pleased. Does look pretty good. It's going to look better when I've finished with it, and hopefully you'll see it again at some point when it's refurbished and operating as it should. If you have any comments or questions about this Hoover Aquajet, please comment below, and I'll see you all very soon for the next video. Bye for now.